I was 6, my sister wanted to go over a friend's house and she was telling my father that she wanted to go over. And I was like, don't let her go because something bad's going to happen. And he just kind of looked at me and cocked his head. And I'll never forget the way he looked at me because he looked at me like, are you kidding?
Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world-changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman. And welcome everybody to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. So grateful to be with you. We've got a rocket guest once again. We've got someone who's been working as a psychic healer. I don't know all the labels we have, right? But she's just really cool. She's dialed in. She's no nonsense. I know she magnetizes the right people, but she also kind of people are like, "Whoa, she kind of scares me," is one of the comments I've heard because got a lot of like power and a lot of like she doesn't take no for an answer for your total transformation. So, you're safe just to listen to the podcast list, at least, right? So don't worry about it. She doesn't bite, but been a celebrity psychic and all this stuff. And so I'm just fascinated by her background and all the impact she brings. She brings tons of change into people's lives using her amazing psychic and healing gifts and more and all her teachings, I'm sure. So I'm looking forward to getting to know her better even through today and all the ways you could stop predicting. You don't have to keep predicting your future. You could just start creating it, right? Start manifesting it. And that's where her thing is these days, whereas in the past, she'll tell you what she used to do in the past. So Adrien, I'm so grateful to have you here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. I'm ready.
All right. So I predict it'll be a great show because I'm intending it, knowing that it's done. Hoo-hoo. All right. So Adrien, so tell us about your background. People are like, yeah, like you got that vibe of like, I'm psychic. I've known I'm psychic. It feels like you're psychic for the longest time is how it comes across. I don't know if I read that somewhere, and it's like, well, people like that are a little bit different than people awaken when they're 40, 50, 60. Man, I got these gifts, right? And it's just a different experience of your life, right? So tell us more about these gifts. When do they start popping for you? Because that's a big question for a lot of people is about their gifts all the time. Do I got them too and whatnot? And how do they show up for you?
And for me, it was very early on in my life. I think I was around 6 years old where I remember having like the first experience of having a gift. I didn't really know it was a gift. I didn't get that insight until I was about 15 and somebody told me I had it. But when I was 6, my sister wanted to go over a friend's house and she was telling my father that she wanted to go over. And I was like, don't let her go because something bad's going to happen. And he just kind of looked at me and cocked his head. And I'll never forget the way he looked at me because he looked at me like, are you kidding? Like, what's going on with that? And then he thought I was joking. So he let her go and I stomped away mad because I just figured everybody else is stupid because we all can see the same thing. He knows what's going to happen and you're going to let her go anyway. And around 11 o'clock at night, she called crying. I don't remember what happened, but I remember she called crying and I drove with him to go pick her up. And so that was like the first memory I had of like knowing the future before it happened. But it just kept happening throughout my life. And I just kept it a secret because I was taught that if you can see the future, right? If you can experience something like that, then it's demonic. And so that was just my little secret for a long time.
Mm. Yeah, exactly. That's what we're told. You shouldn't be knowing that stuff. There's something wrong, right? It's like should be the exact opposite. It should be something that's hugely acknowledged, celebrated, embraced. I always say with the energy scanning I do when I teach, I'm like we should have learned this stuff back when we were, little tiny kids. I mean, this is should be right in the curriculum with everything else we're learning about in life, right?
And that's 100%. And it's not even the fact that we would be taught that, it was that we would be shown that what we're experiencing is okay. Like that's just it's
Yeah, at
when I
least
went
that.
when I went to school, I remember learning about the five senses, and I don't remember being freaked out by it. I don't remember how being taught how to use them. They just taught us what they were. And if we could add a sixth sense onto that, that would be amazing. And I will say in the last 25, 26 years, everything has changed because kids now they're kind of aware of it. They've seen the TV shows, they're watching the TikToks. They're all up to speed at this point, but it should really start in the home where this is a normal ability. There's science behind it. Our brains work very much like a cell phone tower. It's not that mysterious. It used to be mystical back in the day. I used to be a psychic back when it was like, oh my God, you're so special. Look at what you're doing.
Right.
And I got out of it when everybody else started doing it. So
Right.
but yeah, I think it's something that we should be taught very early on.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. My kids both, of course, have been around with me since I've been doing this. One's 21, one's 18. I got my step daughter is 34. I came in pretty early in her life, and but now my two girls, my younger ones, they believe in it and everything. They even experience it. Like especially my older one, I would say has direct experiences, which is really, she's like, yeah, I guess I know things sometimes. But the other one is funny. She's got such a scientific mind. She's kind of totally gets it, and she even leads retreats and whatnot and things and spiritual aspects. But then when it comes down to it, sometimes she's like, yeah, I don't know about some of this stuff. We can know all this stuff, and we can heal, and I don't know. And like there's a skeptical, she's got that scientific skeptic mind. At the same time, I think it's really fascinating. I don't know, maybe it's a function of her age too, right? But I'm just like, that's fine. Yeah, I know it's real, but that's okay. You don't have to believe anything. You can have your own belief systems and experience. Like, I try to show her how it's true, just to give her that input. But I'm like, yeah, no problem. If you don't fully on board with some of this stuff, that's fine. You find your own way. Maybe you'll teach me something, right? That's how I look
That's
at
very
it.
true. That's
Yeah,
very
yeah.
true.
So for sure. So for you, but yeah, I guess it has gotten more normalized, but there's still a lot of fear around it, right? How did you start getting introduced to, you did celebrity, psychic work and whatnot. How'd you get into all that, by the way? I'm curious about that.
My first introduction, like I said, I didn't know I was psychic. I was just having the experiences. And I remember as a small child being very terrified, especially when my grandmother died. And I remember like we had three dressers and there was two very large ones on either side of a very short one. I remember sitting in the short dresser with the two, big ones side by side. And I was trying to hide. I wanted to hide. And I was hiding and rocking like this, like, Grandma, please don't show yourself. Please don't show yourself. Because if she did, it was demonic, right? So I knew that I could have, mediumship experiences. I knew on some level that they could show themselves once they passed away, but because my parents kept saying demonic, like if they show themselves to you, there's something wrong with you. They're after you. I just couldn't handle it. And so it wasn't until I was 15. And mind you, everything that I experienced was very logical. So for me, I could explain it in some way, shape, or form. So there
Yeah.
was a friend of mine, we were having a conversation, and she was telling me a story. And I started describing the house she was in detail. And she
Hmm.
was like, how do you know that? And I said, well, it's like reading a book. That was my logic, right? It's like reading a book. I'm just reading a book. You're telling me the words and I'm imagining it. That's what I see. And we were talking about the way the windows look, the way the couches look, the way they were situated, like just very unique things, like as if I'm walking through the house. And she, tapped her boyfriend and was like, you need to come in here and listen to her. And I started just continuing what I was saying. And he was like, so I'm going to tell you a date. I'm going to ask you what happened on that date, and you have to tell me what happened. So he did. He gave me a specific date. And I remember specifically saying, you were out of town. Somebody came to pick you up in one car. The car broke down. So they had to go get another car. Then, just the whole entire story from beginning to end, it ended in some kind of celebration, some kind of birthday. 100%. Everything that I got was 100%. So to me, the logic is I'm reading the book. For him, he goes, you're psychic, right? Oh, life makes sense now.
Right.
Life makes sense. It was like an aha moment of that's why other people don't see what I see. And when I tell them stuff, they won't listen to. Okay, now it's all making sense. Not everybody's not stupid. Okay. So
Right.
then he started bringing his family over. to get
Hmm.
readings, and I it just kept nailing it on the mark, just nailing it, and it just kind of continued from there. I didn't stop, and so I went to another country. I lived in New Zealand for about a year, and I started getting psychic readings myself and trying to understand my gifts more while I was traveling.
Hmm.
And I started reading books like Sylvia Brown. You know, I was always fascinated with her TV shows, anyways, and Montel Williams. And so picking up a book and actually learning what she knew, or how to connect to your guides and that type of thing started happening. And it was just more like, literally, I started having like mediumship experiences and things that actually scared me. And I can tell you about a few of those in a moment, but it was one of those things. When I came back, it was kind of like a natural next step. So I was like, well, what am I going to do for work? So I went to a metaphysical shop and I got hired as a psychic there. And one day I was there and a news team came in and they said, we're looking for a psychic to make a prediction about the ball game that's coming on tonight. And I was like, oh, okay. And they had like this small black and white TV with them. And they were like, we're going to show you part of the game. You're going to watch it and you're just going to tell us who you think is going to win. So I started pointing out, you know, numbers and stuff. And I was like, this is the team that's going to win tonight. Like, hands down, I'm 100% sure this is the team that's going to win tonight. So I was on the news. And that was literally how everything kind of unfolded as far as like becoming in the media. And I got put on Playboy Radio on Sirius
Hmm.
XM. I think it was just Sirius at the time.
Hmm.
Um, and I loved doing that because people would call in. I would do readings and no judgment. Playboy, like there's no judgment. You can't judge anybody for what they're doing, how they're doing it. That's my game. Like I love that. I don't want to be censored in what I have to tell you or what's going on in your life. Like I want the honest truth. What do you want to know? And I want to be able to tell you the truth. And TV shows, just everybody kind of came out of the woodworks. I've never really talked about this before because of my denial, but my website was hugely popular. I had um, producers, casting directors, TV shows always contacting me, whether it's, hey, we need you for something, or do you have a psychic or a healer that could be on a show? So I was always casting shows at that point. I actually started getting paid as a casting director and a producer.
Hmm.
And I had a blog, and I realized at some point that's how people were finding me. You know who Chip Coffey is, right?
I've heard the name. I'm not sure if I do.
He was the psychic on A&E's Paranormal State. He's
Yeah.
children, psychic kids, something like that. Anyways, his PR company had got in touch with me and asked me if I could review his book. And I'm just like, how are they finding me? It was, I don't know what it was, not wanting to be seen, just being in denial, not understanding the landscape of the internet yet. But I was viral before I knew what viral was. I was getting
Mhm.
20, 30,000 hits on my blog for each and every one I was doing. And I was like, oh, they're probably just bots. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm done. And I just literally just got rid of it.
Ha
And,
ha.
and I realized later how profound that was, because that was around the time that I started shifting from doing the psychic work into the healing work, because I had an experience where there was a woman that I had read for years, and it was never really a good reading. And any advice I gave her, she wouldn't take. She just wanted to know what was going to happen, no matter how bad it was. This is what I just want to know what's going to happen. And after 10 years, nothing got better.
Wow.
And that was something that struck me. Like it affected me in a really negative way, because I had actually saved people's lives from what they told me as a psychic.
Hmm.
But just knowing that there's one person that I'm giving you information and it's not doing anything. What is the point of doing the psychic work? What's the point?
Right. Right.
And I started realizing that I could be helping people in a different way. And I resisted this for years because my guides always said, you're a healer, you're a healer. And I was like, no, I'm not. I'm a psychic. And the reason I believe that was because I'm like, this is the stuff that people are interested in. They're not contacting me for TV shows and radio shows and work to do healing work. They're contacting me for psychic stuff.
Yeah.
So that's the mystical, interesting part of me. You want to take that away from me, you know? Like,
Yeah, take it away.
you're gonna take it away from me. But it was that realization, because they let me know this for about 6 years. You're a healer, you're a healer, you're a healer. And I was having experiences as a psychic where people would tell me to my face, I'm not going to tell people about you because I don't want you to get so booked out that I can't reach you, like Sylvia Brown.
Oh, wow.
You're one of the only one of the either the only or one of the rare psychics that are really psychics where you can truly tell
Yeah.
me the future. And
Hmm.
so that was kind of like this selfish thing that put a bad it's actually a compliment, but back then it was like put a little bad taste in my mouth. So there was a negativity accumulating around being psychic. And after that, the idea of 10 years of somebody not changing, I was like, do I want to work with people like that? Because that's what
Right.
the psychic world tends to attract. And I was like, I think I want to move into the healing space. And my guides, I think, were celebrating on some level when I finally said yes to that, you know?
Woohoo!
They were happy.
Yeah.
And the moment I decided that I was a healer instead of a psychic, I gave all my psychic clients a free 15-minute healing. Everybody except for one person transitioned to full time healing versus the psychic readings. My income tripled. I was happier. We were getting more success, and I was like, the benefit to doing the healing work versus the psychic work is I can still do the psychic work within the healing work because I have to psychically see what
Right.
needs to be healed when you can't figure it out.
Right.
But it was the idea that I can ask you what you want to create in your future and help you create it versus telling you what your future was going to be. So I literally got out of the game of telling you the future and just started helping you create the future you wanted, and it was working.
Do you want to meditate and make money? Let it be simple. Let it be easy. Let it be fun. Go to yoursacredpurpose.com and get your free meditate, make money meditation today. Mm. Wow, fantastic. That's great. That's so great. That whole way that unfolded. Yeah, when we got like this really powerful ability that just is such a strong level, right? Like there's different gradations of things. Just like there's people that can do math, and there's people that can do math really well, then there's like these master mathematicians or whatever. Like there's all different levels, right? And we all have different abilities. I believe talent levels. I think sometimes it can be transcended, right? I'm not that
Mm,
psychic. And all of a sudden we go, like all of a sudden now you're like super psychic. That's possible too. You can get an upgrade anytime, right? But within like the way it typically shows up is that there's people at kind of these different varying levels of abilities with anything, right? So that's why I would say everybody can do it. In fact, most people get the same type of testimonials I do once they learn how to do it for me. Like everybody says, it's spot on. It's all accurate. It's all amazing. But what I'm teaching is not necessarily psychic prediction. It's just tuning into someone's energy, which may come with psychic prediction. I certainly tune into what happened to them in the past. I'm like, there you are, 4 years old or whatever it is. That often is dead on. It tends to be even often exact, but yeah, I mean, the belief that we have these abilities, like for me, I didn't know. I just knew I was good at making bets and stuff like that, right? I was just good at like you said with the sports and stuff. So I just knew, I'm usually right. I wasn't right every single time. I wasn't that good back then, but now if I get dialed in, it's like I am right almost every single time. Like I get so dialed in, I'm like, no, it's this way, it's that way. And I might calculate it multiple times, right? But all of a sudden it's like, boom, it's clear. It's this. Sometimes it's like that, or I just know right up front, right? So it shows up in different ways sometimes. But um, but yeah, I mean that ability. I mean, I didn't know. Like I was in grad school, people were saying you just know things or whatever. I still didn't know what all that meant. I don't know what it means. I didn't have a frame for someone to say, well, you're intuitive or you're a psychic or whatever. Just said some people just know things. You're one of them or whatever. And we were not
mm,
told, right? Wow, you got this particular gift or anything. So yeah, I mean, for me, it was a discovery process, and for me, I always thought like, yeah, like I'll say to your point of like your evolution into saying yes to being a healer. I always say the healers are like, you know how to do the healing, but you don't know that much about tuning into what's going on with somebody. That's not the way to do this. You should be able to do that. Maybe you can still do some great things for people for sure. But if you could tune in, then there's even more potential, more possibilities you could bring into their life, and even deeper healing maybe
100%.
you could do, right? So,
Yes.
well, that's why that's my divine outrage around people that haven't learned how to do it or haven't been shown or been revealed because it doesn't take very long. It's like honestly, some people at 10 minutes, like I could turn them on to it, right? Like, there you go, right? But usually it doesn't hold as well that way. That's why I do an actual full training, right? But, you could get them really invested, really, I used to give it away for free, teach. I thought I believed in it so much. I'm like, almost give it away for free, a real low price. And I thought, like, people aren't doing anything with it. It's just a trick they can do now. Yeah.
I mean that's the lesson, right? Because I used to have people come to me who were so upset, like, why can't you do it for free? And this is a gift from God,
Right.
shouldn't it be free? I'm
Yeah.
like, do you know how much money I've put into my education to learn this stuff? And then, you feel bad because people can tap into the guilt that's already there, right? So you end up feeling bad and then you realize they don't do anything with it. Or they're the ones who would call me 24/7, want more from me than anybody else. So not only am I supposed to give it to you for free or low cost, but I'm supposed to keep giving it to you and keep giving it to you whenever you want it. So you can use me at any time. And the people who paid for it had more respect. The
Yes.
people who pay for it, especially the people who pay a lot of money for it, they have like the most respect. They have their boundaries. I'm not going to
I
bother
don't
you
want to
when you're
bother
not
you, give you
working.
50 grand,
Yeah.
but they still don't want to bother you, right?
Right, exactly. They don't want to bother you. They're just like, our lessons are within our lessons, and I'll get more help the next lesson we have. And they're like,
Right.
yes, I've done the homework in between because they're invested. So yeah,
Yes.
there's a huge difference. And I actually teach an energy healing course. And I always teach them, like, even if you're practicing, I would still charge people like 25, 30, like I would charge them something
Yes.
because it gets you used to charging so that people aren't just taking and taking and taking. And it's usually a lesson that most healers have to learn. Like, there's
Mhm.
something about us healers about we feel like we need to give when we need to give to everybody. And eventually, if you stick with healing long enough, you learn the lesson. Oh yeah, don't do that.
Oh yeah, yeah. They just people are just so feeling so desperate to just ask you for more forever. You're right. So definitely creates a boundary, right? Yeah, sure. You come through the paywall, you can start working. Yeah. So anyway, I know you talk a lot about nowadays. Yeah, you're not so much into the predict. Although with the predicting, I do have a fun question to ask you. I mean, those of us that can predict, I have someone who's really psychic and is a great healer that I support, and she's like, "Send me some good juju. I'm going. I've been winning at the casinos, but I want to go even more now at the casinos on top of the great business that she typically has." And it's like, okay, great, sure, we could do that too. So, but with with these abilities like we have, you have, me, I have, and an ability to manifest, an ability to predict, and have you had people come to you like, hey, you know everything. Hey, let's cash in. We can make endless money doing this. Have you run into that, or how do you see that whole aspect? Because I'm really curious
I
about that.
played with it in Vegas for a
Mhm.
little while, and I then somebody was telling me they have psychic scramblers there. Don't practice there. And then I was like, oh, that actually makes sense. So I
That
couldn't
would be
figure
a
out.
challenge to me. I'd be like, fine, I'll
You
override it.
so that was interesting. Back in the day, I've been doing this for about 26, 27 years, and I started really young. And I remember listening to what all the spiritualists were saying, like, oh, you shouldn't use it for your own gain and all that. And I'm like, then what the hell are we using it for? Like, I need to take care of me first so I can take care of everybody else. You're playing. So yeah, if my gift actually worked that way, I would use it that way. Mine does not work that way
Oh, okay.
necessarily for money. When I'm
Sure.
supposed to do something to make money, or my guides tell me, they just straight up, hey, you need to go do this. Or if I need to get a lottery ticket, they would say go get a lottery ticket. So I don't have to worry or wonder about that aspect of it. But yeah, I'm like, people need to take care of themselves, and that's what your gift is there for, and is to take care of you and everybody else. So I would never want to be selfish with it where it's just me, and I would never want to just take care of anybody else. It should be well rounded,
I see.
really, when it comes to, yeah, your gifts.
I find for me, and it could be a false belief that creates it, but like I feel like when I go after those type of opportunities, if I go hard on it, I really go after it, then it doesn't work because it's not really my path. Some level of my soul or someone's like, yeah, we're not here for that kind of stuff. It's gonna be distract you. Right? That's what I believe about now.
Well, and
I
some
don't know if
people
it's
are,
true.
right? So some
Yeah.
people are and some people aren't. So we definitely
Yeah,
have to
yeah, yeah,
understand
totally.
how our gifts work and how we're supposed to use it. And yeah, I think there's certain people who that's the reason they are successful, is because they're using their psychic ability. As a matter of fact, I heard a speaker talking about in college they were bringing up what's the difference between a CEO and just a regular worker under them? There's only one difference. And I'm like, I'm curious. I want to know what this is. What are they teaching in college? And they're teaching that the only difference is intuition.
Uh,
Literally the only difference is intuition. So the worker is going to follow everything to the letter, everything to the T. The CEO is going to be like, I have a gut feeling, I'm going to go with it. And that's what makes them the CEO. And I'm sitting here going, they're teaching this stuff in college. Like, this is amazing. But
that's,
we're using it all the time. We're just using it for how we're meant to use it. Mine is my guides
right.
telling me what to do and how to make the money or what I need to be doing next. And for some people, it's just they're using their gut. They're listening to their gut.
Right. So, so as far as how you approach helping people, so if you can tune in, obviously you could tune in to what's happened to them already. You gave an example of that, right? Then you can look at like what you see could potentially unfold, right? In the future, because of course I know you're not saying like obviously the future isn't fixed because if you can fix the future, it's not fixed, right? So
It's
right, I
true.
mean, so you could see like, well, on the path you're going right now, this is what's coming. However, right, yeah, you could give advice, you could do energy healing, you could
I
do all
will
kinds
say
of things.
this. I will clarify it this way. I feel like
Yeah.
there are parts of the future that are fixed, and most of the
Okay.
future is not fixed. And when
Right.
there is a fixed future that I know I cannot change no matter what I do, there is a knowing, and it's a knowing like I know, like I know. So, one of my best friends, she's been getting readings from me from what almost the whole time, right?
Hmm.
And she would ask me a question, and if I got the answer and she said why, like, I want to do this thing, should I do it? And I say yes or I say no. Well, why? It was her next thing. And if it's fixed, I'll have the why. Well,
Hmm.
if it's not fixed, I'll have the why. If it's fixed, there's nothing we can do about it. I will say I just know, just do it. That's
Hmm.
it. And she said it used to annoy her for years. And she goes, I realize when you say I know, it's 100% going to happen. It's
Hmm.
100% accurate. And I'm no longer asking why. I will just do whatever it is that you tell me. If you say it's because I know, that
Hmm.
knowing is 100%. If I say I
Hmm.
know, that is the end of the story. There's no other conversation. That's the way it's going to happen. We don't need to look any further into it. But if I'm actually getting details of how things are going to unfold, I'm like, this could be changeable. You could change it if you don't like it. So it's really interesting to get that information. I was at a psychic fair. I was actually working at a psychic fair. And when you're working at a psychic fair, you tend to go, take a break and get a psychic reading. And back then I was actually
Hmm.
into psychic readings. So I just remember I don't even remember who the woman was, but I remember sitting at her table and I asked her about my daughter's father. And I had a very negative reaction to what she told me.
Hmm.
And she was like, oh, when she's 18, she's going to reconnect with her father. And all I kept thinking was, she's a liar because he's going to be dead.
Hmm.
And it was a knowing, like 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 nothing else. And sure enough, he died. So could I have stopped it? I sat and thought maybe I could have. I felt guilty that I didn't reach out and like, hey, how you doing? And this is what I'm getting, because he knew I was psychic. And and when I found out what happened, I realized there was nothing I could have done about it. I knew because it was going to happen, whether I liked it
Right.
or not, whether I went to try to change it or not. And so
Right.
that was a fascinating one. So sometimes you have a knowing and you're like, I don't know if I wanted to know that.
Right. Right. Oh
Not
yeah.
sure
Yeah.
I
I can see
really
that.
needed to know that. So yeah, it's really
Right.
interesting. There was um I was doing some automatic writing, and this was, I think, it's early 2000s. But I kept
Right.
getting, there was a shuttle that was gonna, what was, I think it was a Challenger. Like I kept getting a shuttle
Right.
was, and I was like, why am I getting this information? Why are you telling me this? So you'll stop doubting your abilities. Well, is there anything I could do about it? No. Nope. So me and my mom are on the way to another, one of the fairs I was working at the time, and we heard it on
Hmm.
the news that it happened, and I was just like, that's in my book. I actually wrote about that in my book, and I was like, that's just so sad. Why are you telling me these things? And it was always, so you'll stop doubting, stop
Right.
doubting, stop doubting.
Hmm. Right. 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 Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely definitely that ability. I mean, people want to doubt this stuff so much that aren't like in this realm, like the TikTok world. I want to say out there, not TikTok, their platform, the TikTok time world. Um, like with, I knew when we're doing the celebration of life for my father-in-law tomorrow. He died last month. And it's like I knew when he was going to die, but more or less. I mean, within a very small window. I didn't know the exact time or date exactly, but it says, yeah, he's yeah, 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks, he'll be dead or whatever it was. And I was like, he'll be dead. And I told them, I told my wife. About her dad and the sister that was taking care of him, but she didn't want to hear that, right? So, and then when it's like came true, it's like nobody, the people that don't believe still don't believe. They're just like, yeah, whatever. Yeah. Then they know what I do. They still don't believe. All the proof in the world, it won't mean anything. Their beliefs are their beliefs, right? But people that believe will still believe, always, for the most part, usually, yeah, sometimes they might not, but you know what I mean? But like, so I just think it's fascinating how much of a block there is from people, even if people come to us for readings and everything I still have doubts. So you mentioned that, right? I still have doubts. So how do you,
But for me, it runs both ways.
yeah,
So as
yeah,
much as somebody who is a non-believer will, no matter how much proof they have, they'll be a non-believer. There are believers that no matter how much proof you have that you're wrong, or that it doesn't work, or maybe that person isn't a psychic or a healer,
yeah,
they will make the reality fit whatever it is. And it's
right.
funny because I would have clients like that. Like I would be the skeptic, right? So I'd have these,
You're the one.
I would have the clients and I would like, I'm getting this information. This is what the information looks like. I'm not going to read into it and try to interpret it. This is just what I'm getting. And they'll
Right.
be like, oh, that could mean, and then they would make up this reality of to fit my story into their
Mhm.
narrative. And I'm like, no,
No, no, that's not it. Right.
it just may not be for you. It might be for somebody else, or I could just be
Right.
off today. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right. It's
So
possible.
I
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
have to tell them no. But I remember just having like all these people who are were like followers. They just want to validate everything that I say. And I'm like, no, like you have to have healthy skepticism. I think I just could be
Right.
off. And if I'm not
Right.
off, then I will find the answers to put this all together so it makes sense to you. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I always tell people this is just what I'm getting these days. This is what I always keep repeating, like especially when I work with people privately. I would say, and this is just what I'm getting. I don't know, but then they confirm so much, right? Then I let them tell me, oh yeah, no, that's right because of this and that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I let them reveal it because sometimes things don't make sense to people, but it's usually like one or two things. If there are things that don't make sense, usually most of them understand what I'm talking about. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's a ability to see those timelines and whatnot.
What I liked about what you brought up is
Mhm,
that skepticism,
mhm,
because it really shows us, I mean, this is my healing work. It really shows us that even when you have proof of something, you can't acknowledge it.
right,
That's crazy. If you think
right,
about it, that's crazy.
right,
And so that can dictate how much money we make. It can
right.
dictate our love lives because you could change, but you're so stuck in a belief system. You're so stuck in the hurt. You're so stuck in what somebody else told you when you were 2 years old, right?
Right,
You're so
right.
stuck in old energy that you actually won't allow yourself to experience anything other than your belief system. And so,
Mhm,
therefore, your belief system becomes a self fulfilling prophecy. I mean, that's
mhm,
literally it's not all the healing work that I do. It's 1/4 of the healing work I do is I'm clearing out old belief systems so that you can actually see the truth for what it is, which is you can have an extraordinary life. Damn it, you can have it
mhm,
all. So why
mhm,
not? Why not?
mhm.
And a lot of people is because they have religious guilt, their families aren't doing as well as they would be, so they don't want to do it because they don't want to be, they feel like they're going to disconnect from their families, but the belief system is so strong that it can convince us of anything, anything. We
Mhm.
can justify anything. We can convince ourselves or anything, even when it doesn't make sense.
Right.
And so it's really amazing when you're like, yeah, the proof is there, and they still don't understand it. And I'm like, that's the power of the brain. That is the
Yeah, yeah,
power of the brain, and
yeah,
it comes from a place of being afraid of pain. Now I'll give you
yeah.
I give you a story. Another one at a psychic fair. I did the psychic fair for a number of years, so I have a lot of stories around the psychic fair. But I told you I've saved people's lives doing psychic readings, and
Hmm.
one of it was I actually two lives in one day. But the most extraordinary story I have is, I was doing a reading for a lady, and my guide jumped in my body and started taking over the reading, and I wanted them out because they wouldn't stop telling her the same thing over and over again. I'm like, she's not going to want to pay for this reading. She's going to think this is awful, awful reading because you won't shut up. And so they, when they took over, they were like, your husband has a health condition and there's something you could do about it. There's something you can do about it. There's something you can do about it. Go get him a physical. She said, well, he just had a physical. And they were like, go back and get him another physical. There's something that they missed. And she's like, but he just had a physical. It was just back and forth. Same thing. She would say he just had a physical. Belief system, right? The belief
Hmm.
that he just had a physical. So what you're saying is I don't want to go through that. So no, nope, that can't be true. So they were back and forth for a good 15 minutes. It just would not stop. Well, he just had a physical. Well, you need to go get him another physical because he has a heart condition. There's something you can do about it. They said there's something you can do about it about a good 15, 20 times. And I was screaming in my head, please shut up. Stop. Just stop. So the whole time they're talking to her, I'm looking, my spirit is looking out of the corner of my eye, and there's this guy over there who's an all white hair. I'm like, is that an angel? I think that's an angel over there. Like I just couldn't stop paying attention to this man's energy. And I'm like, is he real? Like I just think that's an angel over there. So this woman looked like she was 39, 40 at the time. And they kept saying, you can put 5 years on his life. You can put 5 years on his life. And they had to take over because she wasn't listening, which is the reason they jumped in. And I was like, 5 years for like a 40-year-old man, 45, maybe her husband, who knows how old he is. But in my mind, he was like 40, 45. And I'm like, that's not a lot. Like, this is bad news. Like, this is not
Yes.
good news. So
Yes.
we are done with the reading. We both stand up, and the angel comes over and she's like, oh, this is my husband. This man was like in his 70s. So
Oh.
5 years all of a sudden became like, oh my God, that's like so much time, right? Like I'm
Right, right,
actually
right.
starting to get excited. Oh my God, they can put 5 years of life on this. Oh my God, this is so exciting. So he pays for the reading. They leave. I remember them getting up and going out the exit door. And I'm like sitting there like, what just happened? So it was either 1 to 3 days later, I got an email from her and she said, you were right. And that was it. You were right.
You're right. That's it.
And so I wrote her back and I was like, what happened? Is he okay? Like I was frantic. And she's, just that was it. Just you were right. So for 6 months, I'm thinking this man died and I couldn't save his life. 6 months. She never responded to me. And my spirit, because I was not doing the psychic fairs as much anymore, but spirit said, go back to the psychic fair. So I did. And I get up out of my table at some point and I'm starting to walk towards the exit, I think, to go to the bathroom. And here she comes walking in the door with her husband. And she goes, I said, you didn't answer me. Why didn't you respond? I was so worried. I thought he died. And she goes, well, I wanted him to tell you the story.
Ah.
So when the last part of the story, I know they walked out of the psychic fair. They went out the exit door and he said, what did your psychic say? And she told him. And he said, what is the harm in getting another physical? And she was like, you're right. I'll make you an appointment. If you just look at the belief system alone, look at our conversation about belief. She was like, no, 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 because her belief is we already did it. They've already checked. We don't need to do anything. And here we have somebody who's not stuck with this belief system who goes, well, what's the harm? Let's do it. So the doctor comes back. They do another physical. The doctor comes back and says, you have a heart condition and there's nothing we can do about it. Get your affairs in order.
Mm.
There's nothing you can do about it. Get your affairs in order. And
Hmm.
she said she broke down in tears and then all of a sudden just stopped because she kept hearing my voice. Thank you, guides.
Mm.
My voice saying, and there's something you can do about it. And there's something you could do about it. And there's something you can, right? They were like a
Yeah,
broken
because they
record.
came through so many times. Yeah.
Oh my God. So she said she actually went and got a second opinion. She said it's a 50-50 chance if we do the surgery. 50% chance you won't make it out of the surgery, 50% you will. And they were like, the psychic said she already knew, like, I'm going to make it. We're good. So
Right.
the doctor did say, though, get your affairs in order and then let's do the surgery. And he survived. And so
Uh,
that's what he was coming in to thank me because he was still alive,
Ah,
Yeah.
that's a wonderful story. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so that goes to show how what a difference you can make in some people's lives. Yeah, like you said, just from the reading itself and the profound, impact we can have on people just by using that aspect. And then in the cases where we're, doing healing on people's stuff and you see you see their patterns. It's from what I was reading here, it looks like you see what their patterns are, and then you're able to work with that and to shift that. So did you do you have just a natural way of doing the healing that comes to you, or was it something where you've taken the Reiki and this and that or the other one, or how have you approached that?
What's funny is when my guides kept telling me I was a healer, at this point, I probably had learned 10 different modalities.
Okay.
But when I look at the aspect of healing, I was like, this is for me and my family. If anything ever happens or goes wrong, I want to know how to heal them. And they were
Yeah.
like, but you are the healer. Like, that's what you're meant to do. And I'm like, no, this is for my friends and family. Like, I was the one who had this belief system, right? Talk about belief systems.
Yeah,
Mine was
yeah,
stuck on, I'm not the healer. I'm not the
yeah, yeah,
healer.
yeah.
And so I continued to learn modality. Just kept learning and learning and learning as much as I could.
Mhm.
My first healing class was actually Reiki, and that was by accident. And I didn't continue with Reiki because Reiki is a foundational healing, like it's always running once you have unlocked it. So it's not something that I actually practice or even say that I do, but it's a lot of different modalities that I've put together, even medical qigong that I've learned. I've learned Reiki, I've learned theta healing, I've learned shamanic healing, I've learned psychic healing, I've learned about the body through massage therapy, so I understand the anatomy of the body, which helps a lot with health healing. And it's
Yeah.
just like this incredible aspect of putting all of these different things together. And so sometimes you actually need to change the brain. So I have techniques that actually help change belief systems in a matter of minutes. And then you're looking at sometimes generational healing. And so sometimes we actually have to clear generations of stuff. And then sometimes it's a past life healing that has to happen. And none of these will work on the other one, right? So you're doing different modalities or techniques based on what somebody needs to heal. And sometimes you're healing them all.
Hmm.
But I just look at where the problem is. I ask my guides. I will look at it psychically. I will ask them, whatever I need to ask the client. And I just start, okay, sometimes we have to clear it on all layers. So today, this is what we're clearing. This is what
Hmm.
we're getting rid of. And we've seen some miraculous things happen as far as like healings go, from people becoming millionaires when they do money healings, to people having whatever disease they were experiencing at the time just disappearing, chronic pain gone. I think my number one success over the years has been after one healing, people telling me they no longer need their depression medication. I'm like, did you consult your doctor about that? Like, did you work with somebody to get off of that after experiencing it for years? Because I don't advocate for just getting off medication, but it's like it's their
Right,
lives. They can do whatever they want. And some
right,
people do work with doctors, and some people are just like, I just got off of it and I was fine. I'm like, okay.
right.
It's your life. But that's always been fascinating to me, how depression can be lifted after just like one session. It's just gone for a lot of people, and people just finding happiness, finding love. It's pretty incredible because it's all aspects of life. I can't say I can hone in on one area, though love and money draws me in because those two are on the same frequency. If you heal one, the other one
Mm-hmm.
heals. But
Mm-hmm.
it's really just about where people are stuck, because people can come to you for love and they heal three different areas of their life at the same time because they're all connected.
Right. Right. I
Yeah.
mean, love, if you work with love, yeah, everything starts opening up, I would imagine, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The heart energy opens up, and love is really about receiving and giving. So a lot of us are great at giving, but we're not that great at receiving. So when we start to heal whatever those blocks are to receiving, maybe the family curse, right? Usually it's generational. It could be a past life thing that's going on, or it's something you experienced in your childhood. And when we just start clearing all of that, and
Mhm.
people are able to receive, they're able to receive anything on any level. And so their receiving ability really increases.
Yeah. 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 That's the key, right? Um, yeah. Allow them to actually, be their true self is how I look at it too, right? Because as you clear the debris, all of a sudden their true radiance and their true ability to just to receive their heart's desires just starts to open up. And it's like, here you go.
Yeah.
It's like you're ready now.
It is. And I think one of the biggest things that I've noticed over the years of doing this work is, so a lot of times when people are saying I want to receive something, they want to receive what they think they're supposed to get. I'm supposed to be rich because if I'm rich, then people are going to look at me differently, and then I'll get respect, and then I'll get love, and then I'll get all these things that I actually want, right? So they're looking at the how. Adrian, I'm coming to you for the how. I need to get rich so I can have all the other things that I want. Well, when you start clearing all that gunk, when you start clearing all the supposed tos and how other people are judging me and the shame and the embarrassment and all those feelings, people are like, I like money, but I also like free stuff. Like, why can't I just have free gifts? Why do I have to make the money to pay for my own trips? Like, why can't I just get free trips and people start getting free tickets to trips? And you know what I
Right.
mean? And
Right.
invited to stay places for free. And their friends are like, hey, I want to go on this cruise, but I don't want to go by myself. I'll pay for it if you go with it. Like,
Right.
extraordinary stuff really starts to happen. And they realize that was never what I wanted. It was how I thought I was going to get the love that I wanted, or how I was going to get the trips that I wanted. So it's really interesting to see people make a realization that now let me start asking for what I actually want.
Right, exactly. I think that's the big one of the big keys is we lie to ourselves a lot. Like, okay, I'm in a business, right? All right, I need to hit this number, that number, another number, right? And it's all this tension and like I've got to get there. And then if you approach it that way all the time, for most of us, you usually always fail almost every single time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, now if I really, in the past, if I really got my willpower on in a line really good, okay, wow, you did it. All right. I'll do it 1,000 more times, 1,000,000 more times, right? See how fun
Yep.
it is. It's not fun anymore after a while, right? It's too exhausting. It's way too much tension. It's like you just trust the abundance of your heart's true desires. I always find a greater yield anyway, overall in life, right? Whether it's business or anything else, like your heart just opens up. It's like, oh, wow, that just happened. Wow, whatever it is, like everybody just signed up for the thing. Wow, how did that happen, right? Because your heart opened up to it, right? Then
Yeah.
I know with my mind goes back. Now, what strategy did I use there? I need to get the strategy right. Then we can do it again. And it's like, you missed the point. It's not what happened. It's not exactly a strategy thing. It's an energy thing, right? And then coming back to some simplicity of our being, and so that's what you sounds like you do. You actually, in some ways, you're a lot like me. It sounds like with the way you approach it in terms of like trying to get their energy open and just receptive. And I mean, we're all different, but I'm just saying, like, there's some similarity in the approach. It's like, because I say, what's
Yeah.
the interference? Just gone. What do you truly want? It just start showing up. Yeah, the trips, the courses, the new jobs, the whatever it is, right? All the stuff that they've been wanting. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
about to be put in the hospital. I've had it. I'm done. I'm mentally ill. I can't take it anymore. Wow, now I'm happier than I've ever been in my whole life after one clearing, right? I've had one of those. All she did was, well, I did have her meditate like crazy too. But like between those two things, like she's like, yeah, months later, she's like, yeah, I still feel better than I've ever felt before.
That's so amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, well, especially I don't know if you've had anxiety, depression, or issues like that for 100%, right? But I have big time in the past. So I think like we appreciate it more if you've been through that so heavily in the past. Like you're like, wow, what if someone could have done that for me when I was in the midst of that, right? Like
Hmm.
it's really special, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it
Yeah.
is. Especially when you can do it for yourself too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Too.
I actually I'm on one crusade when it comes to spirituality and like healing. And that is, I want everybody to know one thing. In the spiritual community, and I know people were well meaning because I got this, I think, as early as 12, is the whole self love movement. I hate the self
Mm.
love movement. I despise the self love movement. And here's the reason. Everybody who's listening, pay attention to this because you probably have heard, oh, you need to love yourself first.
Mm.
You need to love yourself. How can you expect anybody else to love you if you don't love yourself? And I want
Mhm.
to ask, in what world is somebody who's paying thousands of dollars to get healing somebody who doesn't love themselves? In what world is somebody listening to a podcast like this and not loving themselves? In what world are you trying to get help and trying to get answers to the questions that are burning in your heart, and you're trying to manifest the things that you want, that don't love themselves? Like the self love is there. Trying to protect yourself, being avoidant, having anxious anxiety, attachment, all of that is you are trying to protect yourself. You
Right.
have a desire to protect the person you love, which is yourself.
Right.
None of
Right.
this is because you don't love yourself.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
never because you don't love yourself. It's because you don't know any better. Because what worked for you when you were 2 years old, what worked for you when you were 7 years old, what worked for you in a past life, and what worked for your family is all you know. And
Right.
so it's not about learning to love yourself. It's about learning how to love yourself differently, because you can't
Mm.
love yourself the same way a 7 year old love themselves. You
Hmm.
have to love yourself like an adult. So
Right.
we start to discover what didn't work, why you did what you did, what didn't work as an adult, and how we can change that now. So I want everybody to know the self-love is already there. There's only a few people I've ever met that really despise themselves, hate themselves.
Right. Right.
And so I'm ready to move beyond. You need to love yourself, and I'm ready to tell you that you're already there. And it's really amazing because there was this woman I was working with, and she has some severe knee issues to the point she was getting ready to have surgery. And she was having she's allowed me to tell this story because she even wrote me the testimonial, and I sent it out to my email list, my audience. And so I want to share it with you guys. But she was going to have knee surgery, and one of the problems that she had is she didn't want to look in the mirror. She
Mm.
did not want to see her. She's like, I hate myself. Everybody keeps telling me I need to learn to love myself. And I was like, you wouldn't be here if you didn't love yourself. You would not be on this call with me right now, listening to what I have to say and allowing me to heal you right now if you did not love yourself. And she said, just me telling her that, she was able to look in the mirror and her knee pain completely was gone and dissipated. Just by
Mm.
me reframing the truth, which is the love is already there. Can we just do it a little bit differently?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
That's
would
great.
never despise, I would never, tell a 5 year old that they don't love themselves because they don't know how to read at eighth grade level. And that's
Yeah.
where most of us are. We don't know beyond what we were taught. And so it's really that simple, is we just need to be taught something different.
Yeah. 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 No, that's a great point. I mean, the way you frame that, I haven't, I don't know. I probably still have self-love stuff on the internet somewhere, but
I
it's
do
been a while.
too.
It's been a while. I did whole summits or whatever about around such things way back a long time ago. But I haven't talked about it recently. I don't talk about that too much. I might say it sometimes, it's possible, but like it's more. I'm more about like I understand the frequency just wants to shift, and how can we shift your frequency? Then the love's automatic. Like the experience of I love myself is
Right.
automatic, right?
Yeah.
The experience of loving yourself. You may, like you said, maybe, yeah, because all the parts, all the things that are gumming up the works are just sitting there playing parts because it thinks like that's the way, again, to protect and make you safe. So it just doesn't realize like, well, it could be even way, things could be way better, right? And we could just let that go and play a different game, right? To love you. So I totally agree with that that premise. Like in a way, it's all the self-love thing doesn't really it's kind of a bunch of BS. So
I probably still have something out there. I've been doing this for 26 years, so at some point I was on the self-love train, and I don't remember what happened, but it was like a awakening one day, and I was like, "Oh, please don't tell me I've harmed people with this. I have to start letting people know the truth." Oh my God, so that's where I'm at right now.
That's great.
Yeah.
No, I love that. That's what this show exists for in part. They get these truths out there that are not the typical truths. So it's a gem right there. So I know you had a gift to give everybody that wanted to take advantage and
I
wants
have
to
a
come.
lot of stuff. I have
Yeah.
a lot of stuff to give people actually.
Okay.
I started a new podcast calling Making Miracles Happen
Mm-hmm.
Masterclass podcast, but that also comes from 6 years of interviews and recordings that I've done with the live events and the live event you were on. So
Yeah.
people can come watch people like you who do healing work, and they shift people's frequencies, and they can actually experience it live in a group setting if they sign up for free at makingmiracleshappenseries.com. And they can also catch the podcast that is now, some of those interviews are now live, so people can go listen to them for free on my website, which is adrienblackwell.com. So I recommend people sign up and get, that free gift of being able to come to the live events to listen to things like this that are a masterclass. People are learning, they're teaching, but they're also experiencing. I think you were doing aura stuff when you came on live, right?
Chakras, yeah, the
Yeah,
chakras.
chakras. So they get to experience things like that live. So those are my two main gifts, are the podcast and then coming to the live event. But I also have a lot of just the healing work, just downloads that people can go register for at adrienblackwell.com. I think you have the link there, and
Yeah.
um, people will be able to download the gifts and actually listen to the healings and receive them, because there is no difference between listening to it live or listening to the recorded version.
Very nice. All right, we'll have the link in the show notes there below where you're listening, and otherwise, just you can look her up online. It's very easy, right? You'll find her. You'll find like those gifts. So, all right. So, Adrian, we're at the point of the show to do the energy scan spotlight, where I just get a couple of downloads for the guests, the psychic on the psychic,
Let's
something like
do
that. I
it.
don't know. Anyway, so I know you love readings, right? So this will be fun. And then and everybody listening, tune in more here because again, there might be a message for you, right? We're all interconnected in some way, right? So okay, so Adrian, if you're ready, I'm just gonna get still and just I'd like to slow down, get centered, and just see what really wants to be shared the most. So one moment. I have to laugh when I hear things that it just sounds funny coming off our conversation. So there's a number of things that came through. I got something about grandma's cookies and stuff like I don't know. So there's this comfort. I get this thing with comfort. There's a desire for comfort. One level. I know you're like, yeah, I got that too, but like you also have this level of there's like something around well, you bring comfort to people, even though you might seem like tough love sometimes, right? So it's
Hmm.
both. So anyway, but the thing I heard the clearest to share with you really was um you are a love ambassador. Like, like after all this stuff about self-love, but that is your thing, and I mean it's already been shared, you already advertised, I get it, but like we're just double clicking on what you already know. Like you're a love ambassador. So that was like the clearest thing to share with you. So let me just see what else is coming through. I keep getting grandma energy, so let's see. Yeah, there's something about like I seen you as a baby and something about you're falling out of a crib or something like that. So there's something, and then and the sense of rushing in to comfort you and stuff. So let me see more about that. Here's something about grandma's always here. So there's something about something about that. And then, I mean, I started to laugh, guys. It's just funny to me. But the conclusion is when you get dropped as a baby, and you may or may not know about that, but like, I get like, you're like, these people don't know what the hell they're doing. I'm going to have to start, I'm going to have to take care of myself. And I, so, so that's what I mean, like the sense of the love, the comfort that you want other people to feel, and that you, in truth, really want to feel more. And like, and you get that from your guides when you allow more of it in, right? The sense, oh,
Hmm.
they got things covered. Ah, if I can just trust that more, right? So I was getting like, that you don't need to work so hard anymore, and again, it's a process letting go. They're like, you don't need to work so hard. Stop chomping at the bit, thinking, nobody knows what the F they're doing. I gotta get after it all. It's time to slow down, realize things will be provided for, and getting deeper into that trust and that flow. And that was what they had to share. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. So, Adrian, I mean, some of it may make sense, some of it may not. It's all good.
I'm going to
Oh,
share something with you if that's okay.
yeah, that's
Okay.
great.
So you said grandma's always there.
Yes.
That doesn't sound like a big message. It doesn't sound huge unless you knew my story. I my grandmother died when I was 6. And the other
Ah,
one I didn't even meet until I was 12 years old. So I know who this is.
yeah.
But back when I really was trying to get into the whole psychic thing and wanted to hone my gifts, you remember Yahoo Chat?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you could have like 10, 20 windows open at
Mhm.
the same time. So I would go into like the psychic medium room. Did you ever do that?
No, I never did
Okay,
this
so
stuff.
there was like a psychic medium room, and I remember like all of us psychics were like trading readings and mediums and stuff. So I had like 10, when you're young, you can do a lot of stuff you can't do when you're older because I had like 10, 15 windows up and I was doing the different readings and keeping up with all of them. So this
Wow.
I remember this one lady writes and she goes, "I'm getting information for you, but can I call you?" And I hate talking on the phone unless it's like a session that I have booked. And I
Right.
was like, please no. And so I'm literally sitting there going no, typing yes. And
Right.
then I was like, I'm not giving some stranger my number as I'm typing my number. And then I'm praying she doesn't call me and she calls. So now I'm exiting out of all these windows. Like, I gotta go. Bye. Phone rings. I open it, I
Yeah.
answer the phone and she goes, "Your grandmother is here."
Uh,
And I was like, why?
right.
I've only had like one dream of her in all these years. Why? And she goes,
Yeah.
"Is her name?" And she gives me my grandmother's name. And in my mind, because of my belief system, I was just like, anybody could have guessed that.
Ah.
Right. So at this point, I'm just like, whatever. Like in my mind, I'm literally like, whatever. So she goes, "Your grandmother keeps showing me a music box." And then she keeps talking about this music box. And I know we don't have a music box in the house. And then she goes, "Wait, no, I hear music box music. It may not be a music box, music box music." So she goes, "Can you look around for it?" And I literally am on the phone. I do this.
Mhm.
I don't have one. And she goes, "I know you don't believe me. And your grandmother's going to prove to you that she's there." She was like, "Because you please humor me and just go look in the living room." So I go into I had to step down. I remember stepping down into the living room, doing it again, this. And then I just
Mm.
set my butt down on the couch. I was like, screw this. I'm just sitting on the phone with her. This is so fake. This is so phony. Oh my God. And all of a sudden, I hear music box music playing at my right ear. And I was terrified. I felt like it was one of those movies where, like
What's about to happen?
I'm getting ready to get murdered. So I'm so scared. And I was like, could you just tell
Just
her I
go in the
believe
other
her?
room. Here it's coming.
Please tell her I believe her. I believe her. Okay, she's
I
here.
believe,
She's
I
here.
believe, please.
I'm a believer. So I slowly turned to see where this is coming from. And my sister had this clown. It's just a figurine. I never knew that you could wind the bottom of it and it plays music box music. Nobody ever wound this thing in years and it started playing on its own. Okay, so grandma was there. So then it was like 2 weeks later, I had to work at one of the psychic fairs and I had like 3 psychics come to my table and say, "Your grandmother wants you to know she's here. Your grandmother wants you to know your grandmother wants you to know she's here." And I'm like, "Grandma, I know that you're here. Okay, I know that you're here." So it's been like that ever since, where she just wants me to know that she's here. And so thank you for the message because I know she's always around.
Yay, grandma's here.
20 years of her saying, "I'm here. I'm here." Yeah.
Well, do you communicate with her?
I have. She actually did a ancestral healing with me
Hmm.
probably like the beginning of this year.
Nice, nice,
Yeah,
nice.
that was like the most interaction I've had with her because most of it is her coming through other people. I guess I wasn't
Yeah, yeah,
open. And so I've been
yeah.
more open to her coming in. It took like 20 years, but her actually coming in and like doing work with me and stuff. So that's been kind of incredible. And then
Yeah.
yeah, more information coming through about our lifetimes together and stuff. So it's been really interesting because I was like, you died when I was 6. Like, why are you even here? Like, trying to get in contact with me is like, you're the healer. You're the one who's doing all this
Yeah.
healing work. I got to work through you. So, and she's here to
Wow.
support me. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very,
Okay,
very important.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I just needed, maybe just need one more nudge here or there
I mean,
to
I'll
go
take
deeper
it.
with
I'm not
that,
gonna
right?
tell grandma no, like, give you that validation. Okay, so
Take,
you're a
take,
medium, you're listening to my grandmother. Thank you.
right,
Yeah.
right. Take the extra help, right? Just keep going, and so keep taking it
Yeah.
to that next level, and that's fantastic. So everybody, if you want to check me out, you can go to yoursacredpurpose.com, get the free meditate and make money meditation. Opens up your energy and your chakras and has you listen to your guides and gets you those downloads and inspiration you need to align with whatever wants to happen next, right? Your life or your business, whatever may be the case. And then once you get signed up, then you will have the opportunity to continue to learn about the podcast, right? So other amazing guests like Adrien, you get to be notified about that, and you get to hear about all the things I have to share as far as helping inspire you as an infinite being, as a visionary healer to take the next step. And you also get the opportunity to get on some free calls with me. I do some free calls at this point. And so you get to come on and I do the scanning for you. I get the grandmas here or whatever it is, right? You get the messages, you get things coming in to support you with your gifts, your energy, etc. So check that out at yoursacredpurpose.com. All right, Adrien, I am so grateful you've been on today. Do you have any last words of wisdom for everybody?
You already love yourself. Continue to do so.
Ah, I love that. All right, thank you so much, Adrien. I'm so glad you came on.
Thank you.
And thank you to our audience. Keep on tuning in. We'll keep on rocking it here at Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Until the next time. You're listening to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Wednesday and Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.